Hello, Guardians, and happy holidays! Apologies if my voice sounds like a cheese grater, I have a cold. My name is Cyberprime, and in today's video, I decided to sit down and play one of Destiny's most overlooked activities, the Humble Patrol. Destiny 2's free roam, or patrol mode, is simple enough. You choose a zone to land in on any destination of your choice, and explore to find collectibles, beat lost sectors, fulfill quests, or to complete patrols. And what are patrols, you may ask? I'm surprised you don't know, but for anyone who isn't a Destiny connoisseur, a patrol is a very short task that you can get during free roam, such as kill enemies or scan an object, which gives you small rewards, and to be honest, I never ever do them, unless a quest specifically makes me go out of my way to do them. But for today's video, I decided to spend the holiday season not cuddled up by the fire, embracing Christmas cheer and watching Tom Hanks drift a train like usual. No, instead I sat down and completed 100 patrols on the most winter-themed destination I could find in Destiny 2, Europa, as a strange way of celebrating the holidays. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, maybe I can make it on another destination or two down the line. We'll see. But either way, grab a snack, Guardians, and make sure to wrap up warm, as I take you through my experience completing 100 patrols on Europa. So, real quick before we begin, this video took way longer to make than I actually expected it to, so if you do enjoy or have any feedback, I would really appreciate if you left a comment, liked, or subscribed, as it really helps out the channel and means that I can keep making content for you guys. But to dive into the actual said content, I will be briefly explaining how I completed every patrol individually, highlighting any strange occurrences or explaining any information that you might need to know as it comes up. So without further ado, let's begin the 100 patrols. I chose to start my patrols in the Asterian Abyss, which is a cool name. Basically just because I wanted to leave the Eclipse Zone for last. I'll explain what that is later. Patrol number 1 was a standard kill bounty, where Varix basically was sick of the Vex, so he sent me to exterminate them, which I did. Just something to note is that you might be wondering why, of all weapons, am I using the Legend of Acreus exotic shotgun? It's because I goddamn feel like it. But no, in all seriousness, I'm just completing the masterwork requirement for the weapon at the time. Also, it's the dawning, so I was able to use snowballs to dispatch the Vex in a more festive manner. Patrol 2 was a resource patrol, which is where you have to kill certain enemies, or enemies in general, in order to collect whatever resources they had on their person. Robbery, it's basically just robbery. And I stole a lot of resources here. I did join a public event during this patrol, because the last hologram I need for the Exo Stranger's cold, lonely cabin is rewarded from killing Briggs as a fire team. But for some annoying reason, any kills I got as a solo player didn't count. I don't know why they made this specific challenge so anti-solo, but oh well. I carried on and completed the patrol. The third patrol was the first scan patrol. I like these patrols. They're very quick and often include little pieces of lore about the destination for new players to learn a bit about the world. Anyways, this patrol brought me to a Vex cube, beside a Vex prison cell, where I learned that the Vex did not invade Europa. They were lured here by Clovis Bray. And therefore, I think Clovis started the Vex invasion on the system, through his big old portal to their homeworld inside that strike on Europa. But I'm honestly not sure. Lore people, let me know if I'm right or wrong in the comments, please. After freeing a prisoner and then instantly killing them, because that's the only thing I've ever seen done for that small patrol activity, I was then tasked with killing some more Vex. So I smashed some bots into scrap metal like one of those satisfying crushing machines. The fifth patrol was another scan, but before I could encounter that, I was gifted a floating box in another prison to destroy by the patrol gods of old. This scan had me investigate an old Vex pillar, which stands as proof that the Vex can be stopped in their desire to convert planets into their interstellar machine network. Patrol 6 was a Vex collector patrol, where I learned that Varix actually does collect Vex scrap, although I'm not quite sure what he uses them for. The next patrol was a kill mission, but it was an ability kill mission, so only melees and ability final blows would count. So using stasis and snowballs, I froze and shattered the robots to show them the true power of Christmas spirit. And you know, space magic. After that was a precision shot kill patrol, which meant that I had to get precision kills. But thankfully, I have incredible aim. And also, more importantly, the Vex critical spots are massive and glowing, so this didn't take too long. The 9th patrol was yet another scan patrol. One of these patrols taught me some of the geography of Europa. Fun fact, the stranger casually mentions that the red ice is perfectly normal and harmless on Europa. But I was curious if this was a Destiny Traveler terraform the planet kind of thing, or if it was real. But after a quick Google search, as far as I can see, there is actually red ice on Europa that is colored red because of frozen salts and chemicals in the ice, which is awesome. Space is so cool. The 10th Patrol. Before I began this, I got distracted by another public event, which my poor aim consistently stops me from turning into a heroic event, as I can never hit the little drones in time. Then I moved on to the Scan Patrol, which brought me once again to the Vex Pillar. Next, I had to exterminate some ever-populating Vex, which again was easy and helped build towards my catalyst. During Patrol 12, I completed a triumph by generating snowballs as I tried to strip the surviving frost-covered Vex for resources for my favorite Elixni friend. After that, I had to kill off the creatures that stalked Elixni through the snow, as Varix described them. The idea of a group of Vex slowly trudging through a blizzard after you with only their red eyes piercing through the storm is such a cool image. But let's carry on. I then decided to arm myself with more knowledge again as I rode my Sparrow towards another Scan Patrol to increase my brain with more European knowledge. The next patrol was another resource bounty, so I lined up the Vex and eviscerated them with my shotgun. There wasn't much left, but I'm sure Varix can find some use for the dust I scraped from the snow. Yet another installment in the Scan Patrol Chronicles, as I chose to stare at the unfinished Vex structure again, to truly ponder the meaning behind its creation. There was a high-value Vex target defending it this time, but I dispatched it with the use of my Stasis Super. After collecting some more Glacial Starwort, I completed another Scan Patrol. This was then followed by another Scan Patrol. I play Destiny for the story, and the patrols were really trying to get me invested in the world building this time. I released a prison of the Vex and found a chest frozen to a wall. Before I completed my next patrol, that asked me to kill the Vex. I was now a fifth of the way through the challenge with Patrol 20, which was another resource collection. I have no idea what Varix is going to use all of these Vex parts for, but I can only assume that he will at least make a new arm to replace the one that Aramis ripped off, literally multiple years ago at this point. Patrol 21 was my favorite, as Scan Patrol, which was turning more into an excuse to whiz around on my Sparrow at this point. This was then followed by one of the more tedious patrol types in my humble opinion, the ability final blows. But after I discovered that melee blows still counted even when they weren't charged, it was a lot more doable than before. Kill Patrol, Legend of Acreus, an iconic duo in this challenge for sure. The next patrol was a Scan Patrol, let's go! The 25th patrol was, you guessed it, another Scan Patrol, let's barrel out! After freeing another prisoner only to kill them for some reason, I had to collect more Vex parts, and at this stage I'm convinced Varix must be making a Vex army. There's no other explanation. Scan Patrol! Next I had to get ability kills for the To the Nth Power Patrol. I'm gonna be honest, I never knew that each individual patrol had their own unique names. That's a cool detail. Scan, 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 scan. For Patrol 30, I had to reclaim more Frosty Vex pieces. Maybe I should pocket some of their parts for myself, so I can construct some form of Vex communication device to really understand their secrets. Or I could just do some more patrols. SCAN Scan Patrol. I then encountered a high-value target that had a little more health than I actually expected, but I still froze them with relative ease before carrying on with my mission, which was another Scan Patrol. Give me the knowledge, Elsie. Now for Patrol 33. I decided to leave the Asterian Abyss and travel the cold, frigid surface of Europa to the Eventide Ruins, where a once prosperous colony has now been frozen in a silent death. In this new area, I decided to start off my patrols in a positive way by completing a Scan Patrol. On my way to the location, I encountered a fallen brig that I forgot could spawn as a high-value target. By scanning this satellite, I found out that without Aramis, the House of Salvation became desperate and was sending out risky advertisements on your dodgy website saying that there were prime servitors available in your area if you joined them. No credit card required. Patrol 34 was a precision shot kill patrol, so I had to test out my aim on some invisible fallen. I then had to collect some more resources for Varix, only this time he needed fallen resources specifically. So the theory that he is designing a replacement Winter Soldier arm for himself still stands. I did find a big guy with a big gun though, so I borrowed the gun from him a bit. Before starting the next patrol, I once again failed to transform the brig public event into a heroic public event. I hate those little drones. However, when I tried to start my next kill patrol, I noticed that there was no beacon. Only strange whisperings from the snow that convinced me to seek blood and drip the horrific spoils onto the ice below where they would be seeped into by an unknown force, as if it was feeding some eldritch sentient frost that had chosen me to become its parasitic hunter that would exclaim the whispers of the snow as I found victims for it to feed on. But anyways, scan patrol! The 38th patrol was a kill patrol that told me the best defense for Variks was slaughtering your enemies when they are not directly hunting you. Variks is one cold-ass dude. Ability Kill Patrol does seem to take a bit longer than most other patrols, but it gives me an excuse to use stasis and snowballs to make me really feel like Christmas, according to IGN. The next patrol was a Precision Kill Patrol that took a little bit more time than it should have because I just looked at the kill icon and started blasting without actually aiming for the head. Patrol 41 was a Standard Kill Patrol to help clear the way for Variks' allies fleeing Europa. So the shotgun was back on the menu, boys. The Meaning of Life Patrol was To the Nth Power, which we all know collectively now is an ability kill patrol. So Snowball Fight Gone Violent was the name of the found footage my ghost recorded by accident, as I sought vengeance against the Fallen that were hunting Variks. Thankfully a public event spawned, so I was able to complete this quicker than usual. The 43rd Patrol? Oh right, the scan for the patrol. The scan specifically designed to be completed as a patrol. That patrol? Scan Patrol, the sequel, actually taught me that House Salvation was stashing ether for emergency use later on. I don't know why they were hiding it in broad daylight, but they probably didn't expect Guardians to be strolling around here. Then once again, Variks informed me that the Fallen nearby had raided Elixni supplies. So I was sent to redistribute these resources after I destroyed a Fallen brig that was minding its own business. The Spanish for scan, according to Google Translate, is escanear, but during this patrol I encountered the most difficult obstacle in this entire challenge. Climbing this random wall.
You left your wallet at home, and you have to go back after spending an hour in the commute. If you won some money at the casino, and then put all your winnings on red, but it came up black. If you got your best shirt dry cleaned before a wedding, and then immediately dropped food on it. If you won an argument with a friend, and then later discovered that they just returned to their original view. Starting over is harder than starting up. If you're not ready for that, like if you've already had a bad day.
Once I accomplished this massive endeavor, I was rewarded with completing the festive patrol of ability kills, so many Fallen became Elixni popsicles that day. I then proved that running over a dreg with your sparrow counts for kill patrols in the next standard kill patrol. Varadura is Portuguese for scan, according to Google Translate. Almost as if the snow had ears and was sentient around me, channeling my power to feed its sanguinary desires. Upon the 50th patrol, the halfway point, the blizzard blew into full strength here, literally pushing my sparrow backwards whenever I tried to do a jump. This halfway point patrol was yet another scan patrol. Did you know that the first ever barcode scanner was invented in 1992 by Norman Joseph Woodland and Bernard Silver, which are very strong names? Patrol 51 was activated in a way off part of the area that I didn't really think had any use, but to look out at the cold, distant destination, and it beckoned me to complete supply and demand by stealing the possessions of Fallen to give to Variks. You know, I'm starting to think that the Spider's criminal empire might be getting some competition. This was reinforced when Variks asked me straight afterwards to reclaim more stolen items from the Fallen. The 53rd patrol helped distract me from these worrying thoughts by sending me on another quest of knowledge to make my brain even more wrinkled than it already was with all the knowledge that I have been claiming. But I wanted even more brain power, so I accepted another scan patrol. My brain will be so big I'll be the Destiny version of Megamind by the end of this. Then I got another scan patrol so that no one, not even Charles Xavier, could beat me in a joust of mental magnitude. Then Variks got bored of me running around looking at broken computers and told me to go execute some Fallens with some precision shots, which I did. I then had to kill more enemies without being so precise, because Variks decided to stop being so gracious. Or was it the whispers from the snow? Were the whispers real? Patrol 58 was a standard resource pillaging, I mean dutifully reclaiming from the Fallen. The demand must surely be high, because Variks was getting me to supply even more Elixni blood and frost-splattered supplies. I'm sure he tells people they're ethically sourced, or like Starbucks with their 99% ethically sourced coffee. What the hell does the 1% mean, Starbucks? You're implying the presence of a 1% unethically sourced coffee. Are you burning down villages for that 1% coffee, Starbucks? Answer me! Scan in French is analyse. The harder they fall was the patrol that tasked me with killing all of Variks' enemies. I mean, enemies of the last city. Please let me go home and celebrate the dawning Variks. During this patrol, though, not only did I kill a vandal and find a secret chest, I also found the Vex spawning in like a Minecraft mob spawner in a snow-filled warehouse. Even though I killed the Vex, a lot of Vex, none of them counted towards the patrol, as Varix only wanted me to kill Aramis's loyalists, or the snow wanted to taste Elixni blood, and not cold, heartless steel. I was struggling to discern between my delusions at this point. Next up was a resource patrol, and interestingly, the Vex that kept spawning in did count for this patrol. Funny how that works. Varix really is collecting these parts for some unknown purpose, isn't he? The Welsh for scan is scan, apparently. S-G-A-N. I think. I may be butchering these words, by the way, but I just thought I'd throw in some educational content into the video so you can learn while I go crazy in the tundra under Varix's watch. Now I was tasked with killing more Fallen, and at this point, I'm surprised I haven't driven House Salvation into extinction. After leveling up, Patrol 65 had my hunter gathering more supplies, with more of an emphasis on the hunter than the gatherer. I found a disciple of Critis, which I think is another type of high-value target, but after dispatching them and burying the corpse deep beneath the frozen-over snow, I decided to source more supplies. To do this, I ventured back to where the Vex and the Fallen were having a kerfuffle, where I found plenty of people to steal from. The Vex also helped me complete my next patrol, which was an ability final blow patrol. For the 68th patrol, about 2/3 of the way through the challenge, I ventured to the final patrol zone of Europa, Cadmus Ridge, which was this week's Eclipse Zone, which basically means that rubble from a detonated space station lands around and crashes down like meteorites, and certain small puzzles and collectibles can spawn here during this week. Another interesting aspect of the Eclipse Zone that I didn't realize before beginning this challenge was that heroic patrols can spawn in Eclipse Zones, which are short patrols that make you travel to a different location to hunt down stronger enemies with better rewards. And this was my first patrol in this area, so I had to hunt down some Fallen hoping to fight for Kel status deep in the Clovis Bray facility beneath the ice. As the 69th patrol, Varix had me scan, and this time I learned that apparently fuel caused arguments in the Bray family before the collapse. I don't know if this is implying that the fuel was dangerous on Europa in some way, or what, but still cool nonetheless. Next, I had to once again source supplies via violence. I then had another scan patrol where I learned that Clovis Bray was a horrible person, but he hired some horribly efficient builders. A kill patrol followed, and I tried to farm kills around one of the puzzle Fallen that I mentioned previously, and it went well, but I forgot that I couldn't complete the puzzle afterwards because I didn't have a Fallen transponder doohickey thing. Look, I haven't played Europa Patrol in years. Varix thought I deserved another challenge and tossed me another heroic patrol. It was at this point that I became pretty sure that each patrol zone had only one heroic patrol that could spawn, as I was sent into the Exo Halls again to destroy 2 beefed up Fallen servitors. In the process of this mission, I completed my Legend of Acreus catalyst, which I was very happy with. So I instantly dismantled it to bring my next master request to life, which ended up being Darcy, that requires exclusively precision sniper kills. My first patrol with the exotic sniper didn't actually require the weapon, because it was another scan patrol. Merry Christmas! Patrol 75, only a quarter of the challenge left, and Varix gave me a chance to work on my catalyst with a precision kill patrol. Next, more resources were required, so I liberated them via high velocity snowball. Killing for the snow, killing for the snow, killing for the snow, it needs to feed. Not even the scan patrols could force those unnerving chilly murmurings from my mind. The snow is alive. The snow feeds. Even though this is a Christmas special, sort of, the eldritch horrors continued to compel me to decimate the Fallen that stalked this blizzard-laden moon. The next patrol spawned way off towards the Eventide ruins, so I thought I'd pick it up for the change. I was yet again transformed into a weapon for Varix, or for the Voice in the Frost. A public event did spawn towards the end, so I was able to get through this quickly. The 81st patrol was another heroic patrol. You'd think that these Fallen would stop hosting meetings in quick succession in the same room after a snow-covered guardian yelling about the whispers and the blizzard comes in and keeps wiping them from reality. Scan in Swedish is Scana. Scan in Italian is Scansion. My super came in handy to join with the ice and become one with the whispering snow as I use stasis to destroy enemies and pray for the ability kill patrol. Varix, as part of this resource scanning patrol, told me that the Fallen were setting back his plans by thieving his stuff. I really do wonder if he's just helping Elixni escape, or does he have another, more morally grey use for all these Vex and Fallen resources. The Russian for scan is Skanarovach, according to Google Translate. Varix needs more resources, but now just Fallen resources. Interesting. Precision kills are required to test my resolve against the frigid weather, but now the cold has felt more like home than the warm Yuletide fire in the tower. Perhaps the blizzards of Europa are more welcoming than once thought. Sparrow racing practice, scan patrol was next, quickly followed by Patrol 90. We're in the endgame now, Guardians. This patrol was another bog-standard killing mission, which pitted me against the prey of the blizzard. Several fallen, including a brig. Patrol 91 was another kill mission again, but thanks to a Glimmer Extraction public event, I had plenty of targets to choose from on behalf of the snow. I continued to arm myself with knowledge, but now Varix and Elsie could not give me the information I sought. The truth lied in the snow, and the ice gave me a new reality of purpose and power. The snow told me more, and I craved more knowledge from the snow. Yet another scan in this mini-trilogy of knowledge informed me that a research team once put a camera down into the deep oceans of Europa, where they saw something swimming around down there, along with bacteria. I'm sure whatever swam around in the deep frosty abyss had nothing to do with contaminating the snow with any samples taken up by the researchers, which then may have transferred their intense psychic energy into the storm and ice of Europa, creating a Lovecraftian horror of intangible weather that consumed through frost and snow. I'm sure that's definitely not what happened. Next up was another heroic patrol, so I did what Varix told me and traveled to the same room that he kept sending me as if he was almost trying to keep me down there. But my friend would have no reason to do that, right? I killed all of the fallen and froze them in stasis. Collecting more resources through ice and snow wielding was next up on the list of patrols, and I completed it with glee to help Varix and serve the will of the cold. I then had to embrace the ice even more through ability kills, which allowed me to release stasis and the power of the cold and the snow in a glorious burst of violence and frost. Scan for the snow, scan for the cold, scan for the blizzard. The final scan patrol allowed me to commune with the snow one last time during this challenge, or should I say, pilgrimage of the cold. Patrol 100. The final patrol in this challenge of completing 100 patrols on Europa. And to do this, I had to kill more sacrifices to be consumed for the snow. I completed this task with swift efficiency, and I was then finally able to rest. After completing the 100 patrols on this desolate, frigid wasteland, embracing the cold and forming a super of stasis, I used, admittedly too much power to bury a fallen shank beneath the ice for centuries to be consumed by the cold. After this, Varix told me to complete a patrol down in the depths of the Clovis Bray facility. The air inside was chilly as the cold escorted me toward the kill. As I descended, I noticed strange pipes and panels of Vex tech mixed with fallen technology that I never noticed before. They were new, and the cold seemed to dislike it. So I hated them too. But before I could touch them, suddenly the doors closed behind me, and a Vex prison bubble was formed around the room, encasing me and the screaming thoughts of the cold alone in the dark. Varix stepped out of the shadows and tapped his staff on the ground. He also had a new arm, called it, but it turns out Varix was making a trap to lure the snow into my mind and trap me down in the Exobray facility forever, in order to stop this incomprehensible sentient cold from corrupting his Elixni brothers and sisters, or worse, spreading off-world. He said his apologies and whispered his prayers as he closed the door and locked me deep in this underground facility where I would never be heard from again, alone in the dark, as the rest of the world celebrates the festivities. But the cold is patient. The cold can wait. This was supposed to be a cheerful Christmas video, but because I'm me, I saw an opportunity to include an eldritch horror, so I did. This has been 100 patrols on Europa, and I really hope you enjoy. If you did, please let me know, and give me any feedback you have, and I can maybe turn 100 patrols into a series going forward. Would I recommend completing 100 patrols in Europa? Not really, the rewards aren't worth it, but it does help me feel what it must be like for a new light guardian being sent out into the world by the Vanguard on their first mission. It also helped me catch up on some podcasts because this video took multiple hours to make. But anyways, if you did enjoy, a like and subscribe would be really appreciated. But more important than any of that, I hope you have an incredible festive season, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye everyone, sorry again for my voice, have a Merry Christmas, and roll out.